Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's tuned in right now. My name is Jason, and I'm the Asia Community Manager from the Oasis team. And today I'll be your host again for another episode of State in Web3. And today, before we begin, if you are tuned in, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we will go through them at the end of the chat later on. And today's episode, we have Akindo and Moss here is from Akindo. Say hi to everyone, Moss.
Hi everyone. It's good to hear. Good to be here.
Nice. So just to go through a little bit on like the overview of the event. So for you guys who are new, so this is where we will talk about a little bit on like what Akindo does in the Web3 space, and we will dive into a little bit on the privacy stuff as well, because obviously we are Oasis. And another thing is we will also talk a little bit about the Web3 space in Asia, and also some blockchain scalability as well as real-world use cases, and a little bit on the regulation and compliance. All right, so let's begin. So maybe you can do a short introduction about what is Akindo and its core mission.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I'm Moz, CSO at Akindo. I have expertise in running hackathons and grant programs, and combined with extensive experience in business development and strategic operations. In the Web3 industry, I'm focusing on driving the growth of the Web3 ecosystems by creating opportunities that benefit infrastructure providers, builders, and investors. So yeah, anyway, like today, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And for explanation, for the introducing the Akindo itself. So Akindo is a hackathon and grants distribution platform, with one of the largest builder communities in APAC. And we primarily focus on the Webpack, and which can build better communities and expand the app ecosystem 10 times more efficiently than traditional grants program or hackathon. And Akindo's mission is to support ecosystem expansion, develop killer apps, and accelerate market growth, and plus empower builders worldwide through a variety of events such as demo days or meetups and hacker house and so on. So we have organized an offshore demo day of the Istanbul actually the last month, and also Hackers Connect during DevCon. And actually, we invited Oasis there to be speaker, and it was really great to have you before. And basically, we organize a lot of builder activation events worldwide and help each ecosystem expansion. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing.
Amazing stuff, man. Okay, so how does Akindo envision its role in shaping the Web3 landscape?
Yeah, thank you for your question. This one, basically like we have organized many hackathons, as I said, the before, and we found out that a lot of projects stop building their project once the hackathon finishes. So, and we try to change this, and so this is why we start the Wave Hack. So, what's Wave Hack is that basically we actually distribute prizes every 2 weeks or every month. So the builder that comes to our platform, they're gonna keep building that, and actually they can actually keep having the prizes through our platform. So it's kind of we call it accelerator program, and pushing forward for their project to the next level or the next stage. And for the project side, it's important to have killer dApps or killer application for the ecosystem. let's say the Oasis have the blockchain, and that we help to build the killer dApps on this, because without killer dApps, anyone won't come to the blockchain. So since there's something to come, so people comes, and that blockchain start to be popular. So this is what we try to have for each ecosystem. And plus, because of we have the connection for VCs, so this is also a great opportunity for the VC to find a great application, because it's basically providing the great opportunity to invest. And because we kind of like making a road for the each steps to complete their project. Yeah, so that's how we try to shaping the Web3 ecosystem for the globally, and basically connecting dApps, and also like the blockchain or infrastructure project and VCs within our platform. Yeah, that's what we do that.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it sounds very, very amazing. Like you guys have been like working very hard to like connect all the dots in the space and just helping new project grow and also help them raise fund as well, I believe. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's move to a little bit on the more blockchain side of things, a little bit on the
Yeah.
privacy side, right? So with increasing regulatory scrutiny uh, worldwide, do you think privacy-focused blockchain solution will face more resistance or adaptation from the government?
Yeah, this is actually a really deep topic when I think of it. So, and I would say it depends on how the L1 or L2 implement those privacy focused blockchain. And I would say being hybrid is a key, because like government also need to track people. And to be honest, like I start to think of like if we really need to be tracked or not. This concept is actually really deep for this. Personally, not really like fun of to be tracked. I'm maybe probably most of people, but if the country exists, probably like do we might need to be tracked in some way. By the way, do you think even country are important or to have it? It's like the kind of the very specific question, but yeah, I mean okay, like my opinion for the having country is probably it's still necessary in the worldwide, because of the you know country is basically like ultimate example of the centralized, and but the country actually has provides some benefit for people, let's say infrastructure, such as road or social welfare or those stuff. And without country, the aka government, and we actually cannot run this kind of system. And also like kind of solving confliction, and or having regulatory or law, and with force, because like there's some penalty, because there's some penalty, and people try to like follow the rules, and those system also like need country. And on plus like let's say cultural or historical identity, to have this part is going to be more psychological when I think of it. But anyway, still having this the kind of identity, it's kind of like leads people to have like a better the feeling for their life. Yeah. So in the end, like I think the country is needed. So, and for the decentralized part, of course, there are a lot of benefits. For example, let's say DAO, and citizen to if we have DAO, citizen to have the like opportunity directly voting for some system, or also like the DID system, and actually it allow people to have like your own data, or by yourself, or identity. Yeah, so this is why I would say kind of hybrid way for this to merge is the way to go. And also, as I said, like in the end, eventually we need country. So I don't know if it's gonna be named the country or the other name in the future, but at least for now we need country. So yeah, this is why I would say that for the country to be regulate people, or regulate, or like some rule, so we still need to be tracked. So this is why a country doesn't like to be fully private. So I would say like partially private is a way to go. and that eventually avoid confliction between the country. And but for the long run, it's gonna be the power of country is gonna be less strong compared to before. And it's gonna be slowly decentralized the worldwide. So this is why I would say that the implement this kind of private infrastructure or blockchain step by step is probably the way to go. And in the end, the government probably open for the being private mostly.
Wow, that is a lot of thoughts there. Like you've got right, yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of, you mentioned the ID, right? Like decentralized identity, right? How do you see it evolving in Asia? Will it replace the traditional KYC route or work alongside with them?
Yeah, I think for DID system, the first of all, it won't. I think it won't be fully replaced. For the DID system in the future in Japan. I mean, basically we start from Japan, but in Asia as well. Because as I mentioned, the centralized part would be remain, and if it's fully decentralized, and it's gonna be it's cause difficulty to be in tracking the individual, right? So this is why I would say for the DID system, it's gonna be partially decentralized, but still it's gonna be under control by government, not fully, but yeah. So for example, there's a good example that it's called like a sovereign self-sovereign identity. So this is I think the for example in Singapore there is a named Singapath. It's actually like kind of like identity, but you can show some information to the government. So you can actually choose information to reveal or yeah, to tell. So this kind of system actually it's a great option with or like integrate with DID. And also like for example in Japan, actually we did a meetup for some project. It's called Minor Wallet. So this is the kind of integration with ID that national ID or something like we have the in Japan. And with this, Minor Wallet actually implement the wallet to ID, basically integrate wallet for ID. And this project I think they received the grants by Ethereum Foundation. So it's a great project. So, and this kind of system is, let's say, like the DID or ID with a decentralized way. So that is one of the way to go. And so I would say not fully replaced by the ID because still there is risk for that, but partially replaced for some part of some function is gonna be a good way to go. And I think that's gonna happen sooner or later in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can agree with you on this. I think they should both coexist and also like as human, right? We have our own right to own our data and also know basically selective disclosure, right? Like what kind of personal data I want to disclose is really up to personal preference. So yeah. Okay. Apart from that, I'm sure you have heard of this as well. It's a buzzword that had been going on around CT. It's called ZKP, Zero Knowledge Proofs, and
Mm-hmm.
TEE.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been gaining like traction recently. So how soon do you think they will be widely adopted in the Web3 application?
Oh yeah, that's a good question, and actually, it's really hard to predict when it's gonna be. But I think there's a lot of key factors to be adopted widely in the Web3 ecosystem, and I would say I want to pick five things to be widely adopted in Web3, and one thing is I think it's important to be increased of the importance of privacy protection. So, for example, let's say the people start to realize the importance of the privacy protection. So it's gonna have demand for that, and the ZKP and T is obviously the one of them, and to implement this kind of privacy. So this is why, like I would say, like first thing it's important is for the society to realize the importance of the privacy, and next thing is gonna be strengthening the regulations. For example, like this kind of like trend happening at the moment. Like when you go to the website, you see like do you accept your cookie and those stuff, right? This is actually like stuff from regulation, right? Regulations start to try to change for the privacy part, especially for EU, right? And this kind of thing that actually having more opportunity to be adopted for these kind of like ZKP or T knowledge. Actually, I would like to add ZKTLS these days, because of the ZKTLS is one of the other technology for realizing the privacy feature. And yeah, but anyway, those of the feature is definitely the one. I mean, the kind of this kind of like regulation is the one to accelerate of the adoption in the Web3. And the third thing I would say, of course, technological advancement. Like ZKP itself, it has kind of like it's a bit slow to calculate, for the computation. So but those things actually developed a lot. So I think that it's also like the one that I said before, like two things for the regulation and privacy, but at the same time, for development or advancement of technology is something to need to be adopted. And the fourth thing is gonna be enhancement of developer tool. Because of the, let's say like ZKP, there is a tool, for example, Circom, or Plonky, or like there's a lot of frameworks, and these kind of developer tools are obviously like it's important to be implemented and or to be developed by a lot of builders. And finally, the compatibility with existing Web3 infrastructure. We already have web infrastructure or like website, but to be implement those stuff is I need some feature. Then one of the things is the one that I just mentioned before, it's ZKTLS, and this kind of the technology is gonna be easier to integrate for the existing Web3 infrastructure. Yeah, so yeah, basically that's all for that. I said five things that's to be adopted, and yeah, it takes years, I guess, to be widely adopted, but I believe it matters of time.
Yeah, I do agree. Like it kind of takes some time for like the like whole tech growth curve, adoption growth curve. Like it's gonna take some time, and then once it comes, it goes very very fast. And yeah, super super excited to see like how
Yeah,
yeah.
I
All
agree.
right. So thanks for sharing. That is a lot of insightful knowledge there. And let's move into the state of Web3 in Asia. Okay. So Asia has always been the leader in like the Web3 innovation, like recently, right? Like with countries like Singapore, Japan, and also South Korea pushing forward regulations and also adoption. What unique advantages does Asia has over other regions?
Yes. Thank you for your question. And like I based in Japan, so I'm very familiar with Japan, and also like since I started have a lot of data from APAC as a Akindo platform, and we start to see like a lot of the things happening for the Web3, and I think several things that can be highlighted. Um, One thing is probably like when we think of the generally speaking the population, in Asia, I actually the search like how much the population we have, and it seems like 53% of population is as a ratio we have in the Asia compared to the world. So this is a significant actually, and the number of people is very important to because of the it's basically it's gonna directly connected to the number of user, so user base. So and especially for Web3, and let's say like if you go to the Twitter and you check the number of followers, those kind of things is a kind of the one of the factor people check it. And this kind of thing that I would say is one of the advantage that people can have more the user to get on board. And also the in order for the transaction, that if there's many people use it can cause more transaction, and in the end the transaction is very important because it's going to cause a fee of gas and those stuff. It's basically help the ecosystem. Yeah. And the other thing is the government side. It's a more proactive government policies or regulatory support we have. But it depends on country, of course. But for example, Singapore, you've seen like token and those stuff, and also like backup for the tax system. Those kinds of things are actually helpful. And for the in Japan, actually, like 2023, the government position changed towards more for like they set the Web3 as a national strategic industry. So basically, people got the Web3 got backup from government. So yeah, so that's is the other thing, and of course the one that I said, speaking tax, probably like Korea actually has a good tax system for the crypto, or Thailand as well. This is the people who live in Thailand, or like the people who is from Thailand. But actually, this kind of thing definitely helps. And I think the other thing, the technology adoption or like digital infrastructure, it depends on country, but some country like Korea or like a lot of Asian country have like good technology adoption. And the other thing, it's probably I mean that it's related to the population, but the strong community to have, or also sometimes talent pool. Let's say Vietnam, they have the good developer there. Maybe like it's I don't know. Do you remember like Axie? It's a while ago. There's Axie Axie Infinity, right? This kind of thing that it's caused a lot of the traction in the market, and find actually like help the grow the builders. I think those are things that I've seen as advantage.
Yeah, I do really agree. Like in terms of like the numbers of population directly affect like the user acquisition as well as reducing the cost per acquisition as well. So it's
Mm.
obviously one of the edge that we have being in Asia.
Mm.
And yeah, so just now you also mentioned, I think it was a few questions back, you also mentioned DAO, right? So this
Mm.
is a very interesting word from like the last few cycles has been there for some time, right? So what do you think DAO will play in the Asian market compared to the Western markets?
I think the when we compare the Asia and the Western, the speaking of DAO, I think the first like DAO, we got regulated. I mean, in Japan, and that's kind of unique. And I think that I actually searched like when is this kind of the trend happen, was seems like it started from Wyoming states in the U.S. and they start to have like regulation of DAO, and after that Marshall Islands, and then finally like it's regulated in Japan, and it's a kind of like significant because it is more it's a like country to regulate it, and it's a has a like big population, and I think that has a kind of like it can be the trigger later on, and the key benefit to have like regulated actually like DAO can be registered as a limited liability company type. So that is a thing that's specifically the good part of this. So let's say one thing, let's having the legal personality or responsibility in DAO activity. That is a one good part. And for the other thing, let's say like having contract as a DAO. That's very important because you actually have company, you have entity, so you can have sign the contract as a DAO. So and the other good part is having the bank as a DAO, bank account as a DAO. So because if you don't have like entity, you actually cannot have bank account, and a lot of like business activity is gonna be limited. So yeah, once you are regulated, actually start to have the limited liability company, or like anywhere like some status as a company. So and then like it start to be easier to have the to have activity as a DAO. So I think that in Asia, there already one country start to have it. So maybe like in matter of time for in Western country as well, because after the Trump election, there is actually a lot of things that were changing in the US. But in Europe, I think compared to Europe, like still like Asia has a bit advanced for the Web3 as in the for regulation. I mean, Europe is also like they are doing it for it. But anyway, like I would say that the one thing to be regulation related to DAO, probably the one to be ahead.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So, what kind of Web3 trends are you seeing that is emerging in the Asian economies and that
Mhm.
might be overlooked in the US?
Yeah, I think this the one I always like to pick two things. One is mobile dominance. The reason is compared to like Western country, I think the user of mobile, which actually don't use desktop or like in a computer, is has more population in Asia. So and this kind of like this has a good we can have a good insight from that is developing mobile like application in Asia could have a great opportunity, and but in the end it's worldwide though because many people use mobile. And also like super application for super app, for example WeChat or Line, it's gonna be it is greatly adopted in the in Asia. And this kind of implementation the these days we had demo day in the December, and actually like Kaya came to the our demo day and explaining about like mini apps and the line and those stuff as well. And this kind of like implementation could help the adoption, and this is why it could have like the good opportunity or a good trend. And also the second thing is gonna be gamification or play to earn population. Yeah, popularity. Yeah, that's is still really big. And I mean, play to earn became a bit less. Before it was more popular, but still like the reason is like a lot of the people for the income is compared to Western is like smaller for the because of the GDP. When we think of the GDP or economics, it's smaller. So yeah, that's why like it can have the more opportunity. And yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, when you talk about super app, like I can definitely relate to it. Like I mean, if you speak
Mhm.
to anyone from Asia, like any one of them, like must have been like using super app without even noticing, like in their like yeah lifetime. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like core
yeah,
that we
yeah.
cannot live without
I
it,
don't know
right?
why, but it's like very very Asian thing. Like if you go to any Asian country, there's at least one super app.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of real world use case, we already dive into that now. So what do you think is the biggest barrier to the mass adoption of Web3 apps today, and how does Akindo aim to overcome them?
Mm. Yeah, thank you for this question. It's a really good question. So basically, like the several big barrier we I think we have it. One of the biggest things is probably like UX, user experience. So because let's say like nowadays to try to use application or something, you still use MetaMask, and MetaMask is a great application, but like and I enjoy to use it, but or like Phantom if it's Solana. But like still we have to install like Chrome extension and those stuff. And it's pretty common, but for some people, or like when we see the population, maybe like not super much, so this is why super not super much common. So that's why like I think this kind of the improvement of UX is needed. That's later, and the other thing is the security, because you've seen like in a lot of news these days, like there was a hacking from the for the Bybit and those stuff, like it's happened. And one of the way to avoid it is there's a lot of, but there's still, it's so hard. So one of the way I think that MPC wallet to implement all those stuff, and this with technology it could be implemented, but still there's a risk. So this is why this kind of like it can be the barrier for it. And for the other thing, the scalability. So because the blockchain has a scalability still, and I think it's because of L2 and those like new technology. The for example, Solana tried to solve the scalability as a L1, or like another thing like is we start to see like Sui or those like new like L1, but they're like L2 as well, of course. So this kind of the scalability is something to try to solve it. And yeah, and basically this kind of thing, that what we try to overcome it is like we're running Webhack. So basically like try to help each ecosystem, and because we don't know which scalability is the best, or like to how to solve it. So we basically try to help each ecosystem, and also of course having dApps. This is directly goes to the UX, to help it out there to improve for the UX in the end as well. Because if we have the popular application, that UX should be better, right? So that is how we try to help to try to overcome these kind of barriers with Akindo.
Awesome. I can definitely relate when you talk about UX being the biggest blocker, because if you try to think about it, like I have met so many friends who are not in crypto or Web3, and I try to show them MetaMask or like Web3 wallet. They probably be like, what is going on here? What am I trying to do? Like, can I just send money to your bank account instead of sending money to your crypto wallet? Yeah. So but it's really great to hear that Akindo is really trying to solve the problem like one step at a time, like tackling the biggest blocker in the industry. Yeah. So props to you guys.
Thank you.
So moving to the next question, right? So you mentioned a lot about projects, right? So what are the most promising real world use cases for blockchain in Asia today? And are we seeing more focus on DeFi, gaming, or maybe enterprise adoption?
Yeah, I think I don't know what's a most, but I can share a good example of the real world use cases. One use case is going to be supply chain management. Azure has a vast geography, right? Geographically, it's really vast. So, in manufacturing or logistics, it's very important to have it, and for like for delivery and those stuff. And so, basically, this kind of supply chain management, it's gonna be good to be implemented in Asia. And the other one is gonna be digital identity or e-governance and those stuff. But this is it doesn't only, it's not gonna be only for Asia, but yeah, definitely the one that should be implemented. And the other one is cross-border payments. Yeah, that is it's gonna be a bit general though, but like that is one of the biggest strengths what that crypto has. Yeah, because before like we're using bank and those stuff, it's costs more. Yeah, but anyway, this everyone talk, right? Anyway, and the other one is financial inclusion or DeFi. Of course, the before like we are using stock exchange or forex, right? And but like there's always a time that you can trade. I was used to like trading like stocks, then but like there's the limited time you can trade. And when I goes to like forex, oh yeah, like I can trade like every day. And but actually still like you cannot trade for it. But when it goes to the crypto, yeah, actually like every day, unless like blockchain is self-stop or something, yeah, usually like open for any time to trade. And like the system as well, like that's something to be highlighted. Yeah, but this is definitely the one. And gaming or NFT, yeah, this is the one as well. As you said, because in Asia, like there was a lot of demand or like popularity for game. And NFT. Speaking of NFT, probably Japan would be a good example because there's a lot of IPs and it could match with them. And plus, with the gaming, like fusion with the gaming, it's gonna be like have a great example. Yeah, I and speaking of the enterprise adoption, I think this is the this is gonna be for the country that has a lot of the kind of big enterprises. For example, in Japan as well, like private chain for to be implemented for the big companies start to be seen. And but anyway, like it's for the specific case. Yeah, so I would say. We are started seeing the a lot of the project or companies start to implement for or like implement the blockchain system. But I think yeah, definitely still a lot still big room to grow.
Awesome. I think having a lot of room to grow is definitely a sign that our industry hasn't matured yet, which means a lot of opportunity will be coming. And yeah, super
Mm.
excited to see like how all these different sector really plays out, right? But
Yeah.
among all the things that you mentioned, like all the sector, one that really stood out to me was the I think it's the cross border payment. Like I
Mm.
think stablecoin will be very widely used by all around the world, not just Asia,
Mm.
to be honest. Like eventually, yeah. So that was just my opinion, just to add on to yours.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like stablecoin. Actually, like I think I've heard like regulation. There was a big regulation change the beginning of this year, and basically like the let's say for the ETF or something to implement the stablecoin, it's gonna be recognized a very risky asset, but now it's gonna be recognized the much safer asset. So this is why like it's easily to be implemented those stablecoin for the financial asset. So then like people a lot of like investment companies start to use it. Then like the more money comes. So in the end, like it's yeah, it will be matters of time to matter of time that we will see the adoption of the stablecoin.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of different topic today. Really good to
Mhm.
have you here. So before we go to our one last closing questions, so now we'll go into regulation and compliance.
Yep.
So do you think self-regulation within the Web3 space is viable, or will stricter government oversight be inevitable?
Um, I think this is a very good question, and I think in the end, the hybrid way is a key, and because self-regulation is a good part because and also like government oversight is it's kind of like inevitable for somehow. So that's why I would say like the kind of hybrid. So the let's say for the self-regulation, I would like to highlight three things. The one thing is innovation. Innovation and agility. It's really quick that people can, the Web3 space is really quick. So this is why, like if there is self-regulation, you can actually do whatever you want. So it's kind of like endorsing the innovation, but at the same time, it's of course there is a risk for that, and for the as well technical expertise because let's say the government to catch up those are like new technology, it takes time, and to be regulated as well takes time. So but like if it's self-regulation, it's gonna be like quicker, right? And because that person knows about technology so they can implement it. But like as I said, there's risk. So for example, do you remember like an FTX collapse and those stuff? Because of the regulation wasn't ready for it, it caused yeah, in the end, like a lot of people lost money. But actually in Japan we got so many hackers in the past. Like the first thing like the it was 2012 2014 or something, like there was like Mt. Gox and the hacking it was the Bitcoin was stolen, and after that, coin check 2017. So in the end, the Japanese government started very strict, but in the end, it helped because the only Japan was the place that the it it wasn't really affected. People use the FTX, but that was a kind of like independent company, and that's the money there wasn't be affected by the one that from the headquartered the FTX in US. Yeah, this kind of thing that sometimes helps with the regulation, and of course as well like for the blockchain itself is a global nature, so it's basically like it's kind of no regulation that when you say it because it's global. So the in one this kind, let's say like one country like in Japan with this regulation, but when you go to another country, US different. So this is why like for the it's kind of like the naturally like it's global. So so that's why like in a sense it makes sense to be self-regulation, but as well like in the beginning I highlight some importance of country. So in the end, we probably need to be regulated somehow. And yeah, so and the government side, like let's say the one that I said, consumer protection. That FTX with a FTX example, or yeah, financial stability, or like anti-money laundering, ML. Or counter-terrorist financing. So in the end, like some part should be regulated, so yeah, that's why I think the kind of hybrid. I don't know still, and the this is the something that would be responsible by the government or some the lawmakers. But anyway, I would say the hybrid system is the one to go.
Awesome, awesome. Really nice to hear you share so many things today. And yeah,
Yeah,
so I think this is the end of our chat today. Let's see if we get any questions from the community.
yep.
Okay, seems like we don't have any questions, and I think we can wrap this up. Just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to our chat today, and also thank you so much, Moss from Akindo, for
Thank you so
joining us
much.
today. All right, cheers, bye bye,
Th-
everyone. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Bye.